So, today is March 18th. This is my second Corona vlog with our little quarantine we got going on. And today I'm going to be talking about me. I just wanted to explain to you guys how I got where I am, what I've been doing, just a little bit about myself, because you guys don't really know anything about me. So, let's get started. I wrote a script. First thing, my name is actually Daniel Bleckley, but everyone called me Buddy. Everyone has called me that since I was a wee little baby. I'm a product and tabletop photographer living in Los Angeles, and this is what I do. I've been in Los Angeles now for about 7 years, but I'm originally from Pembroke, Massachusetts. So growing up in Pembroke, we had lakes and forests and dirt roads, and me and my friends just loved making forts, tree houses, just building stuff. I was taking all my paper route money and buying Lego sets. We just loved to create stuff. And then when I was about 12 years old, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for PlayStation came out, and that was like the first introduction to skateboarding that me and my friends had, because there was no internet. Yeah, there really wasn't much internet. Like, the internet was still dial-up. We didn't have any magazines. No one really skateboarded in my town because it's just small and suburban. But like at the video game store, we saw Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And so that really kickstarted my cousin and I love for skateboarding. And then after that, it was on. Like, that's all we did. And if you know skateboarding, then you know that skateboarding has a kind of self-documented culture within itself. So people are always filming and taking pictures and just documenting what they're doing, even from a very early age, even more so now than back then. So my mom, being the angel that she is, saw that I was really into taking pictures and filming and signed me up for these photography classes at my local college when I was about 15 years old. And that's kind of when I first got my hands on like real photography, not just like disposable cameras and everything like that. I was taking black and white classes and color printing classes and documentary and just like whatever they had to offer. And because of that experience, I was able to get a very large scholarship to this school. Now the thing is, when I was applying to colleges, I applied to one school for engineering, I applied to one school for photography, and I didn't get into school for engineering, so that's kind of how I decided my career. Sound kind of crazy, but whatever, went with it. So I ended up going to the Art Institute of Boston, and I basically started college as a sophomore. I tested all of my first year classes. I was in the darkroom printing, I was doing all the art school stuff, and basically I was just pretending to be Ansel Adams, shooting with 8x10 camera, printing in the darkroom. It wasn't really what I wanted to be doing, I guess. What I really wanted to be doing was shooting skateboard pictures. So when senior year comes around, that's all I do in school is just shoot skateboarding, shoot documenting my friends, little point and shoot cameras, just everything I can do. And that's kind of what fueled the beginning of my career when I decided I wanted to move to California about a year after college. So in January of 2013 is when I was going to move to California. I moved here January 10th, 2013. I totaled my car. Literally the next day, going to look at an apartment. And that really kickstarted me into gear in LA. Because all of a sudden, I couldn't just like float around. I was like, I got to start working. I need to get my car fixed. I need to do this. So I started contacting everybody in LA I could get my hands on to try to get any photography work. I was assisting. I worked at a rental house. I kind of just hit the pavement hard and went for it. So it was around 2014 when I felt like I was actually making it in skateboarding. I was going on big trips. I was getting photos run in the magazine monthly, but the industry kind of started to die. Skateboard Mag went out of business. Transworld started to go bi-monthly. Then before you knew it, Transworld was out of business. So there was nowhere for my photos to go. But luckily, this whole time I was shooting skateboarding, I was also doing other photography jobs, like cheap little e-com photography jobs. I was shooting little headshots. I was assisting. I was digital teching. Like all of those jobs kind of prepared me to kickstart my career once skateboarding kind of died out. Now this is where it gets tricky. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after skateboarding, so I kind of just shot a lot of different things. I was shooting portraits of people, like corporate headshots. I was pretending to be some sort of editorial sports photographer and shoot portraits of basketball players. I was just trying everything. So I built up a pretty decent portfolio of stuff where I felt like I could get hired by magazines. So I made a portfolio. Then I went to New York and met with a bunch of magazines to try to get work. While I was there, I was getting great feedback, but nothing was really became anything. And while I was in New York, I was staying at my friend Josh's house that I went to school with. Now, Josh had a pretty similar story to me where he graduated from AIB and wasn't really sure what he wanted to do. And he kind of fell into this product still life tabletop world. And he hustled hard. And like within a few years, it really took off. And now he's killing it. So Josh, if you're watching this, you're killing it. But it really was Josh who kind of sparked my interest in product and tabletop and that kind of photography. After New York, I basically dumped my whole entire portfolio and started shooting only product stuff. And when I was posting the test shoots I was doing on Instagram, all my friends that worked at skateboard companies started calling me. And before I knew it, I was shooting skateboard product stuff. I was shooting for clothing brands. It took off very quickly. So big thank you to Primitive and Huff for kind of kickstarting my career right out of the bat and trusting me with those jobs early on. So now that I have a small portfolio of creative product photography, that people just kept on hiring me. My first big campaign was for Soylent, and it ended up being this big nationwide campaign, and that kind of began to open up a lot of doors for the rest of my career. The winter of 2018, my friend Mike Marasco calls me very last minute. Hey man, we need you to come shoot this campaign for Ciroc. Now Ciroc is P. Diddy's vodka company, and it was probably the biggest job I got to shoot in the past year. And that was another huge campaign that kind of launched my career even a little bit further. I had images on, big posters in liquor stores. I had stuff in New York and LA. I had a gigantic billboard on Sunset Boulevard. And I felt like I was doing the whole photography career thing. And it's kind of weird to think that you're not established in your career until a certain point, but I still feel like that all the time. Even especially now with Corona kicking in and not having any work lined up and everything kind of falling apart in the whole industry. It's my career doesn't really feel like a career right now. So having that big campaign for Ciroc really made me feel like this is what I should be doing. So I just pushed it even harder. And I was looking at all these other big commercial photographers doing products in still life, and everyone was doing video. So that's when I decided that I should probably start doing video work. I saved up some money and I ended up buying an older Phantom slow motion camera just to kind of get my feet wet and play with it. And that's kind of when I kind of fell back in love with the engineering side of my childhood that, was always around, where I was always building stuff, fixing cars, doing whatever. But now that I can do that to make a living, like I'm all in. And if you've been following me on Instagram for the past 6 months, you've been seeing me build all this crazy robotic stuff, just having fun and like being creative, and that's where my career is going. So now this is where the coronavirus come back into play. This year has been awful for the whole entire photo community, and that's kind of why I started making these YouTube videos, was to get what I'm doing out into the world. People can see it and like follow along and like get excited about what I'm doing. And making these videos kind of gives me that excitement again, and I just like can't wait to make the next one. However, being stuck at home for the next few weeks, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. And doing these videos really does help, like, make me feel better, make me feel like I'm being productive. So if you're watching out there, thank you so much. And if you're not watching, then you probably should. I'm not really sure what else I have to say about this, but hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna keep on trying to make more videos. All right, later.